I'm your host, Rich Baris, the People's Pundit. Don't forget to join the locals community, peoplespundit.locals.com. peoplespundit.locals.com. All right. So, I forgot about the generic ballot. Whoops. All right. Let's do that first before we get into some of the other stuff, and then you'll see why the generic ballot is the way it is. Again, a word on other polls. There's just no way. There is no way you could find a lead for Democrats on the generic ballot right now. I don't think this is like a methodological difference of opinion. Who's doing it? Who is the only ones who are finding like the Trump is down to Biden by 1 point, and then the headline is Biden would beat Trump, and it's 44-43. First of all, if that was even true, Biden would get stomped because in the Electoral College, you better win it by 4 points or more if you're a Democrat, especially against somebody like Donald Trump who has Midwest strength. But even if you could do that, and the Democrats have a couple point lead on the generic ballot, I just don't believe you. You want my honest take here, folks? I'm giving a speech next month about, do polls even matter anymore? Those don't. Those people don't. Why should you believe them when they were among the worst pollsters of 2020? Remember that episode? They were right below Quinnipiac. Morning Consult was literally in the top 5 of the worst pollsters of 2020. They poll for Politica. So there's just 2 universes of pollsters right now. There are the repeat offenders who suck year after year after year and put strains on our industry. And then there are those of us who are getting it right year after year. Plus some of the other ones now who are at least trying to save face. How on earth could we find a 6-point lead for Donald Trump? Harvard Harris find a 6-point lead for Donald Trump, and then they bust out with some crap like that. I honestly think you have to fudge the responses to get a Democratic lead on the generic ballot right now, or to have Joe Biden leading Donald Trump. I do. I'm saying it flat out. I think you are manipulating the hell out of your sample to do that. Laura, you're in the chat. You saw it. You saw the raw. I think I was being maybe even a little overly fair to Democrats and Biden. I really did. I really do. They are in a terrible position. And it's not because the sample was... They're at a point where we know some people, for instance, 46% said they voted for Donald Trump. About 50% said they voted for Joe Biden. There are actually people now that we know who voted for Joe Biden, or at least highly likely. And some, even we could look back to the API ID and see maybe last year we polled them, had interviewed them, and they told us they voted for Joe Biden, who now will not admit that they voted for Joe Biden and are in fact saying they either voted for Donald Trump or they voted for someone else. Which is why this someone else number is inflated now in all our polling. These people don't want to admit they voted for Joe Biden. That's where we're at. Which is why you cannot wait, which is one of the several reasons, main reasons, why you cannot wait by 2020 or any presidential vote preference. First of all, if you're doing that, how on earth are you waiting for the voters who are new voters or voters who did not vote in 2020? You can't apply a weighting variable if some of the responses are basically empty values. That's number one. I know that some of us are not supposed to talk this in detail to like the average audience to tell them that it's simply impossible to do that. Oops! It's impossible to do that. That's number one. And number two, people lie. Especially when you have somebody like Joe Biden who's so deeply unpopular now. They're lying. Stuff here. You know Wisconsin. You know it well. This is what I was talking about earlier in the show. The Marquette poll is a joke. It's a joke. It's been a joke for years. It got even more of a joke under Donald Trump. It was great for a while. It was very good for a long time. But like so many others under Donald Trump, they just completely lost their minds. Wisconsin is hard to poll. That is true, because it isn't like Pennsylvania or Wisconsin, which Pennsylvania always Donald Trump polled at that was his strongest of the three. But yet both times in 16 and 20, it was not. Wisconsin was the most pro-Trump state out of the three of them. And yet you would never know that from the polling. Don, there is zero chance that Biden has a 43-33 10-point lead over Donald Trump in the state of Wisconsin. This is just, it's more of what we're just talking about. It's continuation of what we're talking about. These people have no shame. They just hate America first so much that this is what we're left with. And you know Wisconsin better than most people.
Yep.
Do you have any shred in your body that believes that poll?
No, not at all. Nor did I the last time when they did it in the 2020, right? I mean, they said they gave Biden a 10-point lead in that one too, and all this. Yeah, no, not at all. This is what they're doing now, and this is why I always commend what you do at Big Data Poll. You don't poll with a preconceived notion of what you want it to be. These people do. So when they're given these poll numbers, that's what they wish it was. Right? You always know that that's what they wish it was, and they found a way to tweak this and tweak this and tweak this and make it what they wanted it to be. So it's like all the stuff that they do with the climate stuff, right? Where they go and they do these multi-million-dollar studies on this and that. They know what the result is. Nobody's researching anything or really crunching any real numbers. They're just creating something that fits their narrative, and that's what they're doing with polls like that.
So, I mean, it's just to me, it's outrageous. Trump has led in all but 2 polls in the last 36 national polls. And yet somehow in the state of Wisconsin, one of his strongest states, he's behind by 10 points. I mean, this is ludicrous, Don. Not to mention, we've done the voter file analysis on it. Wisconsin is like R4. Look at their sample.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's what they want it to be.
Yes.
Gone are the days of D+4s and 6 and 2s and 8s, and those are gone in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And by the way, they were gone in 2020. The electorate was R+1. It's going to be like R+4 next time. I mean, it's just not reality.
Yep.
They have no shame, none.
Hi folks, Rich Baris, the People's Pundit, host of Inside the Numbers with the People's Pundit, and co-host of What Are the Odds with Barnes and Baris. If you liked what the New York Post called above average transparency, then go ahead and like the page, share the videos, and hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when we're going to go live.